Hello and welcome back to my channel, Jordan Mind, Body, and Soul, where we learn to take care of ourselves, mind, body, and soul. And if you're new to this channel, then welcome. This channel is just about ways we learn to take care of ourselves mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, whatever it is, so that we can lead our best lives. And if you are a returning viewer or subscriber, then welcome back. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys know how much I appreciate you guys. Like, words can't describe. Welcome back. Let's get started. So today's video is about radical self-love and self-acceptance. Now, usually when I think about videos and what I want to talk about, I kind of have it like scripted out and planned. And lately, I feel like I've been kind of having like writer's block. Like I have a whole bunch of topics that I have written in my phone that I want to discuss one day, but I haven't felt like the energy or like the empowered to speak on certain topics that I have. So I have all these topics. I'm going through the list. I'm like, nah. And then last night, well, really this morning, I couldn't sleep. And then I was like, okay. And usually, like, if I can't sleep, sometimes I'll sit with that. I'll be like, okay, what's going on? What are we thinking about? What's happening? And the first thing that came to my mind was radical self-love. Radical self-love. And then I sat there and I was like, I don't know what that is. Not saying like definition wise, but like I don't know what to do with that. And then I started to think about it. And I started to think about how easy it is for us as people to enjoy ourselves when we are at what we consider to be our high point, right? So if you're making, like, let's say the most money that you've ever made and you're excited about it and you're empowered by it and you have money to save and you're doing all this stuff, it's easy to do this self-love and self-care things. Getting, your nails done, maybe going to a spa, just doing things that show radical self-love. But then I thought about the times where people who are going through hard times, and specifically because I like to watch videos about like real life. Like I'm not really a person who will like watch a whole bunch of videos about like dancing or like skits and stuff like that. I like to watch things about real life, people talking about like wellness content, motivational content, just things that bring us to reality. I really like Soft White Underbelly, if you guys know that channel. And I like to see what else other people are experiencing. I know this world is so huge, it's so vast, it's so much bigger than me. And a lot of times, people are just stuck in this part, right? And they forget that there's life and people outside of them. And I feel like I know that one of my purposes in life is to connect and to talk to people. And the only way I can really connect and talk to people is to understand and know what's going on. So I'm always aware of what's happening. And I noticed that like I like to watch a lot of videos of people who get free makeovers. So the person might be like homeless, or not even just homeless. They're just going through hard times, so they let themselves go, people say. And so someone gives them like a lock redo. So they'll redo their hair, or they just give them a makeover and they just do things to help them feel better, right? Physically. Because when you look better, you feel better and you start operating on that frequency. And then I started to think about how much I've evolved. Like for me personally, honestly, I'm going to be so honest with you guys. I've dealt with self-esteem issues since the beginning of time. And it always had to do with like my appearance. Like I always felt like I wasn't pretty enough. Like they don't like this kind of girl. They like this kind of girl. And I just always cared about how other people saw me and not what I thought about myself in terms of beauty. And it was never anything like serious. There's nothing that triggered it. It's just things that I thought. I've seen the girls that they liked, and I wasn't one of them. I've seen the things that, certain girls would do, and I didn't do it. You know what I mean? So I always felt like kind of like a disconnect. And that disconnect took me out of having radical self-love in times and situations where I could. And so in that, I've learned that I had to heal and to, I want to say, like, connect with old parts of myself and forgive parts of myself for behaving or thinking in certain ways that limited me in that moment, and that maybe created more pain or chaos than than what's necessary for life. So bringing it back, right? I thought about what it looks like to love and take care of yourself regardless of what's going on around you. And I'm always called back to doing certain things. Like I might be like, okay, you know what? I'm kind of stressed out. Let me take a bath. And that's physically cleaning myself, but it's also cleaning my space. Or I'm like, you know what? I'm feeling a little, inconfident about how I look right now. Let me retwist my hair. Let me do my nails. And it always comes back to me pouring into myself with self-love, self-care, and patience. And I can name an endless amount of times where I've been in situations where the lack of self-love showed up in how I cared for myself, like in this situation, but also what I was willing to accept from people. And within the past couple of years, I faced some ridiculous situations that I'll explain to you guys one day, but that have really helped me with the boundaries and have really helped me say, hey, this is what self-love looks like for me. And like I always say, I'm so nice and I'm so considerate and I care so much about other people that a couple of years ago, it disturbed me when I realized everything that was going on around me. I'm like, listen, all this is going on around you, right? And where is that self-love? Where is that same way you would stick up for a friend? Where are you doing that for yourself? And I realized I wasn't. So I started to. And I started to be more firm on boundaries and more honest about why the boundaries were set in the first place. And I can tell you that it's not easy because sometimes, especially for me, which I think is kind of like a sign of people pleasing, setting boundaries kind of feels like I'm punishing other people. And I think a lot of times when you set boundaries, people do take it as punishment. But after a while, if you are firm on your boundaries and you are clear about why your boundaries are being set, then people are going to recognize that this isn't necessarily a punishment. This is a standard. And you're either going to meet the standard or you're not. And that's up to them, right? You can set boundaries all day long and people can decide if they want to cross them or not. But if they do, then there's consequences to follow. And that has been the foundation of my self-love journey, of my radical self-love. And I choose the word radical because you almost have to go on an extreme with it, right? Especially in this day and age, there's so much going on. And the first thing that you have to be able to do is check in and take care of yourself. You have to be able to do that, especially as a mom or as a person who's looking after others. Sometimes you'll see that you've given so much over here and you've given so much over here and everything is give, that when you look back, you're like, okay, I don't have anything else to give anyone, let alone myself. And that's not a way you can operate long term, right? That has to be something you nip in the bud early. So in this video, I didn't want it to be super long or crazy, but I just wanted to encourage you to know and to remember that you can love yourself wherever you are, at any time, at any stage, and be excited about it. And don't feel like, because I know, I just wish I can give you guys just like a snapshot of just different things that happened to me throughout my lifetime, in times where I've had to give up friendships, relationships with people who I thought the world of because boundaries were crossed. And at some point in it, if you truly embrace self-love and radical self-love, then it does mean that other people might feel it as a punishment, but in a sense, you have to choose you over other people, right? Because if you're constantly in situations to where you're giving, or boundaries are being crossed, then you don't have any love or any protection for yourself. And that's not a way to operate in self-love. And just in this stage of my life, it's the time where I have to give the most, because now I have a family. So I'm not always able to just be like, okay, like when I was single, I'll just go be in my room for 24 hours and, eat, leave to eat and just vibe out by myself and journal and really tap in. Like, it's not that anymore. Now I have different expectations. But in that, I always remind myself, hey, when I need to take a second and I need to regroup and I need to love on myself, I do have a perfect support system available to say, hey, you need to take the kids, babe, so I can have a second. And he'll do it. And I'm hoping and praying that anybody, any mom, any caregiver also has that support, because it's necessary. You need it. But this again is just a reminder to love on yourself at your stage, wherever you are today, with whatever you have going on, and don't feel bad about it. To really create those boundaries to where you're able to protect yourself and when you're able to feel comfortable and feel happy about the life that you're living. And most importantly, that you can make sure that everything that you want is aligning to your bigger purpose, whatever you feel is going to make you be the most happy and living and vibrating at your highest self every day, mind, body, and soul. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.